guys, like I told you, I decided I would take you on a little tour of the outside of my parents' property and just kind of give you an idea kind of where I grew up. So it's cold out here. I found a hat that I used to wear when I was a kid and I thought I'd wear it while I was out here. Alright, let's get on a roll. Alright, so we are sitting here in the back drive area, and there is Dad's shed. And I'm sorry if there's some banging around on the window, it's cracked a little bit. But this is kind of the back 40. The property stops right there about 50 feet on the other side of that car. And this is Trixie, my brother's dog. She's a good old girl. Hi, Trixie. Hi. You want to go for a ride? Come on. No. All right. This here's an area that it's kind of the woods that they call it. The cows get to use, and they have a fire area here in the outside where kids can come over and roast hot dogs or what have you. And I can't really get over there in the cart, but maybe we'll walk over there later. This field is all of Grandma's property, and she lives out in Ohio. But at some point, Dad and Mom plan on buying it, I think, if they're not already in the middle of that. And that low area is a creek, and we'll go take a look at it. We're driving down the driveway right now. Let's cruise down there real quick. Yeah, there's so many good memories that are attached to, this property and being here with family, and it's just such a good time to get back here and remember, going snowmobiling and four-wheeling out here in the pastures. And I used to have a go-kart, and we had paths running through this creek with our go-kart. It was one of those big off-road go-karts. First purchase my brother and I ever made together. It panned out. Taught me a few things about driving. And this is the creek. Looks like things are moving right along with it right now. And but in the summer though, this creek will dry up. There won't be much here. And my parents, or Grandma's property, my mom's mom, it runs all the way to the end of this road. It's about 2/10 of a mile, 3/10 of a mile, something like that. And I'm not going to take you all the way down there, but you can see there's a stop sign at the far end. And this whole field is theirs, and eventually Dad and Mom want to build a house, back up in here somewhere, and maybe sell that one or give it to, sell it to my brother. Anyway, let's spin around. This is just the country. This is what I grew up with. And I like it, but I like the Carolinas a lot better. It's too cold up here. It is too cold. And this is a creek across the road. And let's cruise right along back down to Dad and Mom's drive. This is the front field, and the property goes over to where you can see the corn stalks there. So it's not too far, I don't know, 300 feet or so. And I was telling you in the previous video when I was shooting from the inside of the house that I built a soccer field. And here is the soccer field. You can see the snow is on the edge of it, but the top of it's flat. And the soccer field's come in handy. It's been a real nice area to play, for us when we were growing up. And you can see there's two poles that are short. That's the width of one volleyball net. And then there's another one that's tall over there with the lights, and that is between the tall one and the next short one is the width of two volleyball nets. So we had it set up to put 3 volleyball nets in there. And, you know, we've had a lot of good times here. And it's just been a great place for people to come and enjoy the summer evenings. Now, when we remodeled the house, I put in this drive, this circle drive. It was never here before. There's a tree with a stump. You can see it's a big tree that's no longer there anymore. But this drive, a circle drive that goes up around that tree, and I put in this hump and added some 3-dimension to some of the topography of their property, and I'll show you more when I get around there. A lot harder to see with the snow, but I don't really have an option. Alright, here's the front of the house. There's the steps down to the basement. The exterior steps. The front of the house. And so on. Then back to the driveway. Cow area. Garage. And this is coming in the drive. Here's your garage on the right. Grandpa's garage and his house. The shed. The cow shed. And so on. Well, let's go around here behind the houses. Show you the gardening area. Now this section here, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a hump right there in front of those 3 trees. I added that, and it just adds a little, I don't know, 3-dimension, and you really can't see it. It just doesn't do it any justice, but it starts right here and curls around, and there's a dip, and it curls on around, and it goes on up that way. And it just adds some neat, 3-dimension to the flat ground. That deck, I built that deck on Grandpa's house when he had it moved in. Let's go over this hump right here. Alright. And this is the garden. And they've been putting some cow manure here and letting it set. But this is the garden patch. It goes up to a little on the other side of that plant and over to that tree and back. And there's some asparagus and up here. And this was a raised bed, I think, for a while. I think Dad might have. They like to grow strawberries. That's one of their things. A couple of apple trees. I think growing up there was 5 of them, and I've had to get rid of some of them. We planted those trees when I was a kid. I was probably, I don't know, 8 years old or so, and we planted those trees. There was 5 of them there. Now there's only 3, but that's okay. You know, I don't even know what they are, frankly. They're beautiful, but they are a little trashy. They're in the back, so it's okay. This deck also I built on the back of Grandpa's house. And you can see the snow pattern. And then they have a shed back here, and this is just for storage for just the assortment of things, but mainly all the garden supplies, gardening and mowers and that kind of thing. And we'll walk here between the sheds and take a peek out into the back section, and then maybe we'll walk around. Let's see. Can walk around and, I don't know, get a pair of gloves on, and then we'll go out and take a walk down the creek. This is the shed. I used to raise hogs back there. Dad's got some baby cows now. I think he's got 2 calves and 2 adults that are just about ready to head to the market. Well, I don't think they're going to go to the market. Dad likes to sell half of them at a time. And then here's your cow shed. And this is storage for hay and grain. And looks like he's running low. But this is storage in this half. Nice little setup. Now this is back here at the cows, and you're looking back towards the house. And, well, trash bin's full. Oop. It's slick. Sorry about the shaky camera work. But let me get some gloves on, then we'll head down that way, and we'll walk down past all these trees and down into the creek area. I'll take you along with me. Hi, Trixie. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah, you're a good girl. All right. Let's hope to God I don't drop this camera with my gloves on. But you know, one thing. Let's do a walk around the house, and then we'll walk down to the back 40. This is an area that they're eventually going to be putting in some pavers, or I don't know, some architectural stamped concrete or something like that, and just to add more of a patio. And then here's the back door, or the patio door, in the dining room area. We're right off the edge of the breakfast nook, and they want to add a deck in here, and obviously they've been thinking about that by putting up the vinyl fence on the top section of this wall. And this they have some architectural concrete right there, along there is the three-dimensional concrete forms, and you know, it looks pretty good. And I think if I was to do some work like this, I may consider doing some three-dimensional concrete work like that. It's just real nice, and you can't go wrong with it. You just can't. So, and this is down into the basement. There's a place to hook up a gas line to connect it to the fireplace, and this is the back side of the fireplace. Also, down below is where the fireplace or the stove is, and then back around to the front of the house. And we've already been there. And then turning around, and this is looking back towards the garden. You can see there's a horseshoe pits there, and tetherball, and the front side. Right out there, I don't know if you can see it there. The dad planted. I gave it to him for Christmas about 2 years ago. I think it's been through 2 summers, and I don't remember what kind it is, but it's going to be very beautiful. It's a slow-growing tree, so, and it's doing all right. You can see on part of the video in the beginning, and I can't really see it here, where the old part of the house is. It's that section that's right over there. But you can see it from the front of the house, so go back and look at that if you're interested in that. And this is the cow section, and your dad uses this hose, and it drains out every time he fills up the water. Sorry, I'm not showing it to you. This hose fills up the water for the cows, and away you go. Get over the fence here. These are old locust trees, honey locust trees. I don't know if you know anything about honey locusts, but they're not a hardwood, they're a softwood. They break easy. But there used to be a lot more of them here, and in the springtime when they bloom, they get bright white, these blooms, and it smells like honey, and it's the neatest thing you've ever seen. And from a mile away, down the main road, a mile away, that way, a mile over there, is you can be driving by, people will drive by, and they'll see this woods. It looks like woods of white, and it looks like there's just snow on all the trees. And so we'd have people that come up the driveway and ask us what in the world, what kind of trees they were, or they thought there was snow or something, and knew it couldn't have been snow, it was springtime. But that was always a conversation piece for people. This is the fence, and I'm gonna, well, let's see, how do we want to do this? Let's go around here and walk down that 50-foot strip here in the back. This is where I got my driving practice. My cousin had a 3-wheeler, we had a go-kart, and we just had a ball back here growing up. This is up towards where the cows are at, and we used to have right here in this area, we had a shed at one point that we raised cows and pigs in, and then I moved a pig shed in there, and we tore this one down. It blew down in the wind, actually. And that excavator that I posted a picture of. I'll put it up here on the video, but that excavator that I have a picture of, we used that and buried it right here and burned it and then filled it back in. So Dad and Mom's property comes to the edge here where this fence is. So then we're heading downhill, and this goes down towards the creek, and then the creek runs to the left all the way to the road where we've seen the bridge in the beginning of the video. I'm going to turn it off here and get down there, and then we'll walk along the creek for a little bit. Alright, so this is a creek crossing, and see the neighbors in the back there. And I can't tell you the number of times that I had a tractor or the old Bobcat or a four-wheeler stuck in this creek. This is one of the places I was always trying to get across, no matter how swift the water was. But my, how things have changed. You know, looking at all this and how the creek has changed. We had trails all through here. Of course, it grows up a lot in the spring and summer. But we had trails. These trees weren't down. The creek has changed its shape so very much. But this creek just runs all the way to the road. And I don't know, what do you think? Should we try to cross it? Alright, let's see if we can get across it. Hang on to your britches. Look at that. Not bad. I hope there's no holes in Dad's boots. Whoa, getting deep. Try to get up here. It's a little too cold to be getting my feet wet. And my foot is not feeling good from injuring it last weekend. It's about all I can do to walk. And then walk with a camera in boots that aren't mine. Not any better. Alright. Well, here's a little low section. The fence kind of comes around. Oh, you know what? It doesn't anymore. Yeah, this is all fence now. Okay, this is all pasture. So you got field there. And that field goes up all the way to the corner of the road. Where we talked about when we were looking at the road. And if you walk down here, you can see these hills. Well, we had so much fun with snowmobiles and sleds. We'd bring sleds over here. You know, they're not big hills, but we had to dodge the trees. It made for an exciting sledding experience, even though you weren't going very far. Definitely good times. So, you know, when I look for a piece of property, and this is something I'm looking for, something that's got some geography, some elevation, it needs to be able to be used for multiple purposes. And it's something that I find very important and valuable, that you pay attention to those things. You don't just go find a cheap piece of property that's flat, doesn't have any water source. Now this creek, it could have enough water if you dammed it up. You could support a family on this water if you had to. Now it's not a spring. You'd have to filter it. It's all runoff. Look at that. Raccoon tracks. See that? Lots of them. But you know, you would have to water it. Oh, I just heard a fish jump. It's probably some crappie. But you know, you'd have to dam up your creek and filter all your water. But ultimately, if you're going to find a piece of property to homestead, you know, this would be okay, but you'd want to find somewhere that has a spring. The water table here is not so low. You could dig a hand-dug well, or not so deep. But that hand-dug well, you could, gosh, you know, I don't know, you could probably hit water around 80 feet, I think. And so you could put in you could use PVC and drive a well in and get enough water. at least for a while, until you had more funds to go deeper or pay somebody. And if you were in a survival situation, this would be okay. You could do it. You could survive here. And this is probably the deepest section of the creek. Boy, I'll tell you what, I remember getting four-wheelers and just hogging through this stuff. Getting stuck and having to go get the neighbor's tractor and pull them out. We got into so much trouble. It's a wonder I'm even alive as a kid. It's just it's an amazing thing. You know, God's watched over me. There's a reason why I'm still here. And if it's to do these videos, if it's to help people around me and to make a difference in the world, you know, the longer I live, the more I realize God's got a plan. I know that now, but you know, I wouldn't do half the things that I've done around this creek. You know, I wouldn't do half the things that I've done nowadays because of how stupid they were. And it just goes to show that God has a plan. God knows. He is the creator. He is the maker. He is the physician. He is the chief planner of our lives. And no matter what we want, because I didn't want to be where I'm at right now, but no matter where I'm at, what we want, God is in control, and He will guide us if we just let Him. So, we're going back across the creek here, and I can't tell you the number of times I brought that go-kart through this little section here. I think right here is probably where I kept coming in and out. We had that dug out, brought shovels down here and dug it out. Anyway, let's get up here, and I got a story to tell you. You know those wagons that the neighbor used to come over here and he'd farm this ground, because we didn't farm it. Dad doesn't farm anymore. We had hay in here, about like it is now. And his dad had passed away, and he was coming up from the road. They'd already cut the hay, and they were baling hay, and he was coming up from the end of the road there, cruising along, and here you've got this big hill. It goes up like this. Up right here, we're going to go walk it. His mom's driving the tractor. He's on the back, and he's a big burly guy. And they got the tractor, and then the square baler, and then the old wagon cruising along here. Good little speed, you know how you do when you're... And we get on this hill, and I'm up there at the house, right over there. I'm at the house on the hill, kind of, as a kid. Cruising along, and as they're going up this hill, the wagon, the wood deck on the wagon, wasn't bolted down, and he only had about four rows of hay stacked all the way up on the back of the wagon. And they're cruising up this hill, and about halfway up the hill, bam, like that, the wagon, the deck flies off, and the guy's standing on the front of the wagon, and he catapults, whoo, all the way over, and he lands, and it throws him over top of the hay bales that he had stacked as high as he could get them, and he lands down there. And he got up, big burly guy, you know, he got up and he walked out of there just fine. But I'll tell you what, that is a memory. You know, those things, you don't get those kinds of memories when you live in the city, when you live in the suburbs, when you live where you don't have to survive and all you do is work for a living. Kids don't get those experiences, and that stuff teaches something. It teaches physics. It teaches thinking ahead. It teaches being prepared. It teaches a mentality that you cannot, or virtually cannot, teach living in a city or town neighborhood environment. And I'm so thankful for, you know, how I was raised, even though I hated my parents for a while. I think most kids do. But I'm so thankful for it. And just, you know, if you're watching this video and you have kids, if you are a kid, think about how that fits into where you're at in life. You know, think about what you're doing, how you treat your family, how you treat your parents, and what you're learning every day, and try to be just a little bit more mature than what I was about it when I was growing up. You know, I went away from home and I lived in the city, and now I have to start all over from nothing. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a big wig at a factory or running the show somewhere in a populated area, but think about the choices you make. Think about everything that you say to your family. You know, make choices that that you're not just thinking about yourself. Make choices that also involve other people and that can impact other people's lives for the greater. So we're walking back up here, and this is hi Trixie. Hi girl. What you doing? We're walking back up here towards the house, and this is the little fire pit area, burnt area. They have some Christmas lights here. Where are they at? Right there. Christmas lights strung up around here. And here's the pit. Pile. That's what Dad's been using for, years now. There's a little table that's, I think it just fell apart last year, getting rotten. And it's got wire or electric run out here, right there. And here's a little path made with mulch. Good girl. Good girl. What you doing? Yeah. Good girl. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Yeah. Good girl. Good girl. Alright. I'm back up to the house. So, I think that's all I have for you for now. If there's any questions you have, please feel free to ask me. And I'll be glad to do my best to walk you around if I'm still here. And if I'm not here, I'll answer questions that you have. If you found this video to be helpful or informative, share it. I don't expect there to be a lot of those, but share it. Share portions of it. Tell me what you learned, what it meant to you, and communicate with me. And hopefully this gives you a little bit of an insight into my mindset and where I grew up. And maybe we can all work together again. Just change the world, one person, one heart at a time. More next time. God bless you all. I love you. We'll talk soon.